Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, the Australian Education Union has taken aim at the state government on the first day of budget estimates. It's pointing to a lack of new money for safety officers in schools, with Labor launching a fiery line of questioning. Under pressure from political opponents, the Premier wasn't mincing his words.
There's no more important task for any government than to ensure the safety and well-being of our children.
With budget estimates kicking off inside the walls of Parliament, Labor leader Rebecca White was keen to clarify whether new safeguarding officers in Tasmanian schools will be funded within the department's existing resources.
The question I had was about whether this was new money.
A sentiment being echoed by the Australian Education Union, who believe it's an act of deception by the state government.
Federal money has already been earmarked for schools, and now it's said it's got to be used for the safeguarding officers. This is not okay, and any new initiatives in school require new money.
Meanwhile, the recent Commission of Inquiry into Child Sexual Abuse was in the spotlight, seeing Jeremy Rockcliffe reveal this statistic.
Since October 2020, there have been 31 suspensions of state servants as a result of allegations of child sexual abuse.
The Premier was also quizzed on potential wage increases for frontline workers, with independent member David O'Byrne citing cost of living pressures and the public sector's commitment to the pandemic.
Are you going to force them to take industrial action?
Mr O'Byrne, I'm passing to Ms White, please.
No need for industrial action, Mr O'Byrne.
But they're already taking it.
The grilling ensued from Labor around a potential conflict of interest by former Sports Minister Jane Howlett.
Well, there's no case for an inquiry. If you have evidence, then please bring it forward, Ms White.
It appears that there was a secret election promise made by Jane Howlett as the Minister for Sport that not even Deepak knew about to the Jack Jumpers basketball team.
Then leading to a fiery exchange with the chairman.
Going on here, it indicates potentially that Ms Howlett made a secret election promise that she then couldn't fulfil.
Ms White, do you want me to name you?
Not really.
Hearings continue tomorrow. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News. Health groups are accusing the state government of taking credit for a hospital protocol which they claim has existed for decades. The state government today formalising a hospital patient transfer program, describing the old system as inconsistent and contradictory.
New policy met with hesitance. The ANMF says there's nothing new about the inter-hospital transfer program.
Our members are saying that this is a practice that's been in place for years. It's certainly not a new policy. They can't understand why the government are actually putting it out there as some new strategy, because it's absolutely not.
The state government today announcing a move to help improve patient wait times and reduce ambulance ramping.
A new inter-hospital transfer policy which will deliver a consistent statewide pathway for transferring patients, and means that patients who arrive from another facility will not be required to be readmitted through our emergency departments.
It's being put in place to make patient transfers more seamless and speedy, but there are claims the government is simply formalising an already existing process.
I do note, however, that this is decades-old practice that we are trying to overturn here.
Confirming the union's response.
Members are really quite frustrated. The government have come out and announced this as some strategy to assist with their workforce and workload challenges when it's going to do absolutely nothing.
Ambulance Tasmania is in full support of the IHT policy, applauding the measure.
This change is one step forward to taking a lot of pressure off the paramedics. It'll certainly improve the flow and once again get the paramedics back to the communities where they can provide a more rapid response to patients who have emergencies.
While the union disagrees.
This policy will have zero effect on their workloads, on the wait times for patients, and will certainly do nothing to decompress the issues in our emergency departments.
Offering up their own solution.
What our members actually need are tangible solutions that will have an actual impact, rather than some policy statement that's already been in place for many, many years.
The government will also launch the Tasmanian Health Senate to improve our state's health services. McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
Greens leader Cassie O'Connor has issued an apology for any hurt caused by her comments surrounding the Amber Heard-Johnny Depp defamation trial. The Tasmanian politician faced a barrage of backlash from domestic violence advocates when she tweeted in support of Depp. She said the trial has been triggering for victim survivors everywhere. An 83-year-old motorcyclist lost concentration before failing to give way and crashing into a guardrail, according to a coroner. Lindsay Kenneth Salter was thrown from his bike in the crash at the intersection of Railton and Mersey Main Roads in 2019. He later died in hospital after suffering a cardiac arrest. Coroner Robert Webster deemed the bike unroadworthy because of a defective front brake, adding the loss of concentration may have been due to illness. Mr Salter had been in hospital after an angina attack just days earlier. Tasmanian born, he was on holiday from New South Wales. His grandson was on the ride with him. New figures reveal the cost of online scams, with Tasmanians urged to protect vital financial data. Scamwatch says Tasmanians have already lost nearly $4.5 million this year, with 1,500 reports made to authorities. More than $200 million has been lost nationwide, with dodgy investment schemes such as fake cryptocurrency opportunities the main offender. The ACCC says the numbers are just the tip of the iceberg.
And we only get about 13% of reports. So you can see the real number is we're talking billions. It is really worrying.
Budding investors are urged to get advice from licensed financial planners and tell their banks immediately if they feel they've been duped. Tasmania has recorded another fall in its daily COVID case numbers. The state recorded 513 new cases overnight, down by 16 compared to yesterday. Tasmania has just over 4,000 active cases, with 43 patients in public hospitals, none of whom are in intensive care. 2 COVID outbreaks at the Launceston General and North West Regional Hospitals mental health units are currently being managed. The department says the clinics will still conduct assessments, with those needing extra care to be transferred to the Royal Hobart Hospital. Tasmania's top towns have been named for this year, with a population of less than 1,500. Strawn claimed the tiny tourism town title. Meanwhile, Sheffield, the town of murals, won the small town category in the Tourism Industry Council Tasmania Awards, while Launceston has taken out the major tourism prize, putting one of the country's hottest regional hotspots firmly on the map. All 3 winners will now represent the state in the search for Australia's top tourism destinations. 10 Tasmanian women will be supported by the state government in a bid to put more at the decision-making table. The Women's Leadership Scholarships aim to improve the gender balance on local boards and committees. Emma Bennison was one of 100 applications and was successful. She says improving diversity is critical.
We need our companies, our organisations, large and small, to be representative of our community.
This is an opportunity for us to say, all right, we need you to step up and we want to make sure that you're empowered as much as you can be.
More than $400,000 will be made available for the scholarships over the next 4 years. The Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery's exhibits will now be complemented by the acoustics of a grand piano. A Ukrainian-born musician will be one of the first to play it, in music reflecting on his home country's conflict.
It's music to their ears. As the Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery welcomes a full-length concert grand piano. The 20-year-old instrument is on a long-term loan from the Tasmanian Symphony Orchestra that made the decision to rehome its beloved piano, which had been collecting dust in the wings of Launceston's Prince's Theatre.
I mean, concert grand pianos, they consist of thousands of moving parts, and they're like it's like a prestige car. You know, you don't want these things sitting in a garage.
To inaugurate its arrival, Ukraine-born pianist Alexei Yemtsov will be tickling the ivories in a 3-night concert. He'll be performing Prokofiev's 3 war sonatas, otherwise known as some of the hardest sheet music ever written.
Many concert pianists, won't even include them in their repertoire because they are so challenging.
I have never actually performed all 3 of them back to back. It's going to be very challenging for my hands, physically.
Event organisers began composing the concert last year, but the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia now means the melodies carry a much greater emotional significance.
The war sonatas, which were written, 80 years ago, have sort of a greater poignancy and urgency now, if I can put it that way, that we sadly, have another war in that part of the world.
The grand piano will help transform the museum into a live concert venue with music to be incorporated into exhibitions, children's activities and fundraising events. Only 140 tickets are available to Tasmanians hoping to bask in Yemsov's expertise. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Persistence has paid off for a Penguin-based syndicate which won big in Saturday's Tats Lotto draw. The group of 29 who once all worked together won more than $300,000. They've been entering for 22 years and have already started planning how to spend their cash. The syndicate was one of 17 Division 1 winners on Saturday night.
Let's take a squiz at the Cripps TSL Player of the Year votes now after round 11. North Hobart players have swept up the votes over Glenorchy, Callan Daly the best of the bunch. Another best on ground for Launceston's Joby Harper in the game against Lauderdale. And moving on, Clarence forward Colin Garland's 3 votes helped him secure the 3 votes. Votes. I'm getting confused here. Joby Harper's pulled clear of Garland, who's tied with Brodie Palfreyman and Sam Siggins. They're on 11. Dan Marsh will join Tasmania's Nicola Carey on Australia's Commonwealth Games cricket team. The former Tigers skipper will be in the coaching ranks when the side heads to Birmingham for the T20 competition. He'll also be involved in the Tri-Series in Northern Ireland leading into the Games. As a player, Marsh led the Tigers to a Sheffield Shield title and 2 one-day cups. Tasmanian Jed Beaton has made his return to the motocross GP in Europe. The Kawasaki rider finished 13th in France, falling back from his qualifying position of 9th. Beaton had taken time off from the competition after injuring his shoulder.
Good evening. 12 in Hobart and Devonport today, Launceston 13, 11 in Burnie. Friendly Beaches 12, 10 at Grove and 2 in Lyoweeney. The satellite pictures show cloudy conditions over much of the state with an area of clear skies about the north. Areas of low to middle level cloud covering much of the southeast and Tasmania, while there is a band of middle level cloud over eastern parts of Queensland. Tomorrow's chart shows a strong cold southwesterly airstream over southeastern Australia with embedded troughs across Tasmania. Southwesterly winds of 20 to 30 knots, reaching up to 35 in the southeast. A gale wind warning is in place for the lower and southeast coast tomorrow, as well as a strong wind warning for much of the state's waters, including Bank Strait and the Franklin Sound. While a minor flood warning is current for the North and South Esk rivers, and there's an initial minor flood warning for the Huon River. A sheep grazier's warning is also in place for the East Coast and Southeast districts, while a road weather alert has also been issued for Western, Central Plateau, Midlands, Upper Derwent Valley and South East districts. And finally, there's a bushwalkers alert for Western and Central Plateau districts. Showers in Hobart and Adventure Bay tomorrow, snow showers in Tarraleah. Launceston 10 and partly cloudy in Devonport and Bridport. Burnie a shower or 2, showers in Strawn and 10 in Marrawar. St Helens 11, a possible late shower in Sponsey and 12 at Whitemark. Showers about the west, south and central areas of the state on Wednesday. Thursday, showers more frequent about the west, south and central areas. And more showers about most of the state on Friday with possible hail about the south. Partly cloudy in Brisbane tomorrow, Sydney 17, showers in Melbourne and 32 in Broome. And right now in Hobart, it's partly cloudy in 7, only going to be 8 tomorrow. Launceston, mostly clear in 6. And Devonport, also mostly clear in 6. And Kim, winter has definitely arrived.
It has, and a cold week ahead. Thanks, Victoria.